TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Now you left WCW for a while. How did that end up happening?
Oh, we might have to be more clear. I think it happened a couple of times. One main one that I know of, that I remember, dude, it's amazing to me how foggy my memory is on some of the timelines of some of the things that happened. One was when Paige took his, was going to go find a smile or whatever.
Right.
I remember the promo. I remember he had beer. He goes, I like my Coronas with wine or whatever. And that's when he quit wrestling for a while. And that's when I started doing the Positively Kanyon. Whereas mimicking Paige and promoting his book with Positively Kanyon instead of Positively Paige.
Right.
Plus hitting the diamond cutter or canyon cutter out of nowhere. Well, we were doing, and Paige liked that because Paige was off TV, but now there was this character kind of, imitating him. And I think the whole concept, it literally came up, and I don't know if Russo gets credit for this angle or not. I mean, it is one of the angles that when I do talk to fans, it's the one they liked and one they remembered. They really did like this. Russo was actually away at this point, and it was actually Disco Inferno and Ed Ferrara right on TV. And they're the ones that had me do those random canyon cutters everywhere. And the first one was just kind of, I think it was just going to be that week, but it got a good reaction live. They got good feedback from it. So they started making, that's when this angle started building on itself. And they were writing good stuff for it. The canyon cutters on people outside, and,
right.
During commercials and you name it. And they was talking to me like doing it literally like at Atlanta Hawk games to the Hawk, the mascot. I mean, they were going to really try to go far with it. Russo came back in the middle of me doing it. And the funny thing is, we played the beginning of Paige's music as my entrance music. So every now and again, like after one of my matches, they'd hit my music. And people would stand and look into the aisle thinking Paige is coming out because it was his music.
Right.
But it was really just my music. I stole his music too. So we could tell people really wanted Paige to come and get me. But Paige and Russo were really butting heads. And there was a chance Paige was never going to come back. In the beginning, there was always that talk to Paige. Paige thought he'd come back. So he didn't mind me doing his character and imitating him and doing this, specifically this. Diamond cutter sign, but then hitting the diamond cutter. He liked it because it was, and we even had plans that had his book and, the whole 9 yards. I mean, it was a way to promote him without him even having to be there. He loved it. But then there was talk that he might not come back. And Russo wanted me to keep doing it. And I told him, I said, Vinny, I'm like, this angle's fine. I'm like, but now Paige is a friend of mine, number one. Number two, he's done a lot for me. And whether I'm getting treated better or poorly because of my relationship with Paige doesn't matter. He's gone out of his way to help me. He specifically has asked me to stop doing the diamond cutter side and stop hitting the diamond cutter because he doesn't know if he's going to come back because you two won't fucking sit down and talk because you two fucking can't get your shit together. Now I'm put in a weird position between you, between my boss or Booker, whatever the fuck he is,
right,
and one of my best friends in the business. I'm like, you guys have both put me in a bad spot, but bottom line is I'll fucking quit wrestling if I got to fuck over a friend. Like, he's telling me to stop doing this and stop doing diamond cutter. I don't care what you tell me to do. I ain't fucking doing it. Like, you need to fucking man up and sit down with the guy and figure out if he's coming back or not. And if he's not coming back, then we got to stop doing it. Plain and simple. You can't keep teasing these fucking people. You see that reaction. They want him to come out and get me. I was like, you can't keep feeding this fucking angle if we know he's never coming back. We got to drop it. So he kind of agreed, but at that point I got sent home. And
right.
Punished, I guess, for speaking my mind. It actually kind of, I think, again, timelines are weird. I think that's when my dad had his heart trouble anyway. And I lost both grandparents within 2 months on my dad's side. And he had heart trouble. So it happened at a time where it worked out that I was able to go home and, But anytime I got sent home or, just, it's not even a matter of sending home. You had to find out every week if you were booked. And they even at the end, they had a deal where you called up a phone number and they listed all the names that had to be at TV. So they never said you're going to be home for 3 months or 2 months or a week. They didn't tell you anything. Every week we had to check. So it wasn't like you can even go on a vacation or plan anything.
Right.
I just had to every week call. Right off the bat, I did tell him after like 2 weeks, and then I kind of realized I was getting punished. Then I did call Vinny and, I left a message and said, hey, my dad's having heart trouble. He's in the hospital, and, I'm willing and ready to come back whenever you guys want me, but just if you can, let me know so, I can deal with my dad's health issues. So that was one of them.
You talked a little bit earlier on about Bam Bam Bigelow. Let's talk about the Jersey Triad gimmick. What are your memories of that?
It's weird because they announced me from New York every point up until they put me in the Triad. Then I was part of the Jersey Triad. I guess the Northeast Triad type thing. Incredible for me. For Bam Bam and Paige to agree to put me in a tag team, I definitely wasn't at that level yet. It's not, Bam Bam basically fucking main evented at WrestleMania when he wrestled LT. Um, so he was, and to me, definitely. I mean, you definitely get a different perspective when you're on the apron watching somebody wrestle, man. It's different than being in the first row. It's different than being on TV. And knowing what Bam Bam, he wasn't so much an A to Z guy, man. He could do it out there, and he was smooth and confident. Really, everyone loves talking great about dead people. I would have always talking about Bam Bam, live, dead, even if he fucking hated me. I mean, it is what it is, man. Bam Bam was one of the best big men of all time. Phenomenal.
You also got to work with Saturn and Benoit as a team.
Yes. Actually, I pinned Benoit for a tag belt. Funny thing is, I'm actually, as far as WCW belts, I think I'm -2. I think I lost it 3 times.
Right.
Won it once. Raven and Saturn, I think, were champs. Raven got hurt, and I filled in for Raven. So I didn't win the belt. But then I laid down for Page. I walked in and took a punch, and I was working with him. So I lost the belt there. Then I was with Page when we lost it back to Perry. So I lost it twice before I ever won it. But then on a pay-per-view, me and Page beat Saturn and Benoit for the belts. And
Did you get along with Vince Russo?
we butted heads on. I think we're both New Yorkers. We're both opinionated. I just ever since the whole thing with DDP, where he wanted me to imitate my friend, my friend asked me not to do it anymore.
Right.
And the whole thing was I was a pawn in the game. Those two were playing with each other. I thought that was wrong and horrible. He ended up doing some show at a church in Georgia years after that. He booked it. It was literally in a church. Very weird.
The Ring of Glory show or whatever.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
And the weirdest thing is they brought up Jim Mitchell, and Jim was all over the fucking channel. I'm thinking, this guy's a shoot Satanist, man. It's just weird. The whole thing was weird, but I took. I think I personally still get along with him. It's hard in wrestling because the line between personal friendships and professional, it's so blurred, man. It's so blurred. And, you don't know who is your friend. You really don't. You don't know who your friends are. And you find out a little bit more when you get fired and you're not around anymore. I used to get all the dirt sheets for free. As soon as I got fired, I stopped getting them.
Right.
So, it's a weird thing to consider somebody a friend in wrestling. I'm glad I'm back in New York where I grew up with a lot of people. I'm still with those guys. I'll say that.
Let's talk about your WWE run, because there's a lot of stuff I still want to talk about. As far as your WWE run, how did you get into the company?
Jim Ross, through Johnny Ace, got back in touch with me and said, don't worry, within days of the final show. So as soon as your 30 days is up, we're going to meet with you. Not with him, but they offered me, went from $400,000 a year or so before. My first contract, they offered me $100. My agent got me $125. As soon as I got hurt, I had a no-cut deal. My agent didn't give me a no-cut deal unless I got hurt for 3 months. On the 3-month mark of my knee injury, I got the call. He said, either we're going to fire you or take a $25,000 pay cut. So I went down to $100,000.
Okay. Once you got to the WWE locker room initially, did they resent any of the WCW guys, or were you ribbed a lot?
Not ribbed, but there was a definite dividing line.
Right.
A lot of them ate by themselves, and I was lucky enough. I knew Matt and Jeff to some extent. I'd kept in touch somewhat with those guys. Believe it or not, I got along with Edge pretty well right off the bat. And I was good friends with Hurricane, and he's real good friends with Matt and Jeff. So that kind of eased me into that group. So I wasn't so much part of that dividing line. But in the very beginning, man, we ate by ourselves. They pretty much dressed by themselves. We dressed in our own room. There was a huge, legit dividing line at the beginning that I think could have been used to, in some extent, I think it played on TV that there was some legitimate, fear and hatred and jealousy and all that other shit going on. He should have kept the company separate, man. We could sit here all day and talk about how it's fun.
Definitely. Your first angle in the company was with the Alliance. Were you surprised that the angles dropped so quick?
I was surprised they featured me. I was surprised they made me the Alliance MVP. Invasion MVP first. The pay-per-view was called Invasion. And they had me do a promo the next day of me saying, because I was part of the format, 8-man tag that won, and I did such a good job in that. I'm the Invasion MVP. That was their idea. They had the t-shirts printed up. And then there was Invasion MVP and quickly got switched to Alliance MVP. So that, to some extent, I kind of did that on my own too. I kept it going because I kept wearing the t-shirt. They didn't tell you really what to wear at first. I mean, sometimes they did. They told me to wear that t-shirt at first, and then I kind of did it my own. And then after a while, Vince threw somebody, Johnny Ace, said, Isn't he wearing that shirt a little too long? That was the end of the shirt.
Right.
But, and then they put this US strap on me and take, but, dude, that angle, NWO lasted for over a year. The invasion angle should still be going on, in my opinion. The company, he ended up splitting companies anyway. He did SmackDown and Raw. That should have been WCW and WWF, and it should have been once a year where we fight each other. I mean, again, yeah, I'm to this day dumbfounded that the angle's still not going on.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.